You've been there for them. Every time they called, you picked up. Every time they needed something, you showed up. You moved your schedule, gave your energy, offered your time, sometimes even your money. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a quiet voice kept whispering that something wasn't right, that this felt more like a transaction than a relationship, that you were always giving and they were always receiving. But you pushed that voice down because you didn't want to believe it, because believing it meant facing something painful, that someone you trusted, someone you cared about, was using you. And the worst part isn't that they were using you. The worst part is that you let it continue long after you felt it starting. Today that changes. Because by the time this ends, you're going to see exactly what's been happening. Not with anger, not with blame, but with the kind of clarity that finally sets you free. Here are 6 signs someone is using you and exactly what to do the moment you recognize them. Sign 1. They only show up when they need something. Think about the last 10 times this person contacted you. Really think about it. How many of those times were just to check on you, just to talk, just because they were thinking about you? And how many of those times came with a request attached? A favor, a problem they needed help solving, something they needed from you before the conversation could begin. People who genuinely care about you think about you when they don't need anything. They send a message just because something reminded them of you. They call just to hear your voice. They show up in your life even when their hands are empty. But a person who is using you only remembers you exist when there's something to take. In between those moments, you are invisible to them. You don't cross their mind. You don't appear in their thoughts. You are essentially a resource they return to when the resource is needed and forget about when it isn't. Here's how to test this right now. Stop reaching out first. Stop being available the moment they call. Pull back quietly and watch what happens. If they only contact you when something is needed, you just got your answer. And that answer, as painful as it is the most important information you could have. Sign 2. Your problems make them uncomfortable, but their problems become your emergency. You're sitting with them and something heavy is going on in your life. You start to open up, to share something real, something that actually hurts. And within minutes, the conversation has shifted. Somehow, you're now listening to their problems. Somehow, your pain became background noise, and their situation became the main event. And you let it happen because that's just what you do. You're the listener. You're the supporter. You're the one who holds space. But here's what nobody points out. A real relationship has 2 sides. 2 people who hold space for each other. 2 people who show up in the hard moments on both ends. When someone's problems are always urgent and yours are always inconvenient, that's not a friendship. That's a service you're providing for free. And the person on the receiving end of that service isn't a friend. They're a client who never paid. Notice how they respond the next time something difficult happens to you. Do they lean in or do they redirect? Do they ask questions or do they wait for their turn? The answer will tell you everything you need to know about what you actually mean to them. Sign 3. They are generous with your time but protective of theirs. You cancel plans for them without thinking twice. You stay up late helping them work through something. You drive across town when they need you. You rearrange your entire day because they said they needed you and you showed up every single time. But when you need them, they're busy. Something came up. They'll try to make it work, but they can't promise anything, and somehow it never works out. Somehow they're never quite available in the way you've always been available for them. This imbalance is one of the clearest signs of being used because it's mathematical. It's not a feeling or an interpretation. It's a pattern you can measure. How many times have you shown up for them versus how many times they've shown up for you? Count it honestly. Let the number tell you the truth. Your emotions have been too kind to say. Your time is not less valuable than theirs. Your schedule is not less important. Your needs are not less real. The moment you start treating your time like it matters as much as theirs, 2 things will happen. The people who genuinely value you will respect it. And the people who were using you will disappear because the arrangement stopped working in their favor. Sign 4. They make you feel guilty for having limits. You finally said no, maybe for the first time in a long time. And instead of respecting it, they made you feel terrible about it. Suddenly you were selfish. Suddenly you were a bad friend. Suddenly all the times you said yes didn't count, and the one time you said no became the defining moment of who you are as a person. This is one of the most sophisticated and damaging tactics a user employs, because it doesn't just take from you in the moment, it rewires how you think about yourself. It makes having a limit feel like a character flaw. It makes self-protection feel like betrayal. But here is the truth. Anyone who punishes you for having a boundary was benefiting from you having none. A person who genuinely cares about you will respect when you say you can't. They might be disappointed. That's human. but they won't weaponize your limit against you. They won't make you pay emotionally for the simple act of protecting yourself. The guilt you feel when you say no to this person is not evidence that you did something wrong. It's evidence that they trained you to feel that way. And recognizing that training is the first step to breaking free of it. Sign 5. The relationship only works on their terms. Where you meet is where they want to meet. When you talk is when they want to talk. What you discuss is what's relevant to them. The entire structure of the relationship has been quietly built around their comfort, their schedule, their preferences. And you fitted yourself into that structure so naturally that it took you a while to notice it was never built with you in mind. Real relationships are negotiations. They bend and flex to accommodate both people. Sometimes you choose the restaurant, sometimes they do. Sometimes you set the time, sometimes they do. There's a natural give and take that doesn't require either person to fight for basic consideration. But in a one-sided relationship, you are always the one adjusting. You are always the one making it work. You are always the one who fits, and they are always the one who is accommodated. Start noticing who initiates and who follows. Start noticing whose preferences get centered every single time. Start suggesting things that work for you and watch how they respond when the dynamic shifts even slightly. The reaction in that moment is not about the restaurant or the time or the plan. It's about whether they value you as a full person or just as someone who makes their life convenient. Sign 6. You feel drained after spending time with them. This one is the most honest signal your body sends you and the one most people ignore the longest. After you spend time with someone who genuinely cares about you, you feel something good. Maybe not fireworks, maybe not excitement, but something warm, something that feels like connection, something that makes you glad you were there. But after you spend time with this person, you feel empty, tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix, like something was taken from you that you can't quite name, like you poured from a cup and nobody ever refilled it. That feeling is not in your head. That feeling is your nervous system giving you accurate information about what this relationship is actually costing you, and it's been trying to tell you for a long time. You just kept overriding it because you wanted to believe the best about this person, because caring about people is one of your greatest qualities. And people who use others are very good at finding people exactly like you. Here's what you do with all 6 of these signs, now that you see them clearly. You don't need a dramatic confrontation. You don't need a long speech or a final message or a scene. What you need is a quiet, deliberate shift in how available you make yourself. You pull back, not out of revenge, out of self-respect. You stop volunteering your time before they ask. You stop making their problems your emergencies. You stop shrinking your limits because they made you feel guilty for having them. You start treating your time, your energy, and your presence as the valuable things they actually are. Some people will notice the shift and rise to meet it. They'll show up differently. They'll ask what changed. They'll try. And if that happens, you'll know there was something real worth saving. But others will simply move on to find someone easier to access, someone without limits, someone who hasn't figured out what you just figured out. And when that happens, let them go without drama and without chasing. Because a person who leaves the moment you stop being convenient was never staying for the right reasons. You are not a resource. You are not a service. You are not a backup plan someone calls when the better options fall through. You are a whole person with a full life, real feelings, and something genuinely worth giving to the people who actually deserve to receive it. Start giving it to those people, and stop letting anyone else take it for free.